All right, this is Wayne at Founders Workshop and Vincent. This is our segment on 10 questions you should ask before updating or replacing your legacy software. And by way of introduction, I'm Wayne Neal. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Founders Workshop. I work with all of our clients and their product and the teams that build the software. Vincent is the CEO of Founders Workshop. And we're going to ask you the first question, Vincent. What impact is the current software having with end users?
So the topic is updating your legacy software, to current software. And the first question is, can you say that again, Wayne?
Yeah, the first question is, what impact is the current software having with end users?
Okay, so when you're dealing with legacy software, you say to yourself, do I need to update my legacy software? If everything is going really, really well, most likely the answer is no, you don't have to update your legacy software. However, when you start seeing, kinks in the armor, like delays in your user being able to use the software, or internal when your staff is unable to get done what they used to get done in a timely fashion, then you start asking yourself, is it time to update my legacy software? And why would something like this happen? Why wouldn't legacy software just work forever? Well, there's a few different reasons. First of all, as other technologies around the software evolve, it's very difficult for legacy software to keep up. It's like having an old engine inside of a car where you update everything else in the car. You take out the old electronics and you put in brand new electronics. You put in a brand new updated transmission, drive shaft, everything that's modern and new, yet you keep an old carburetor engine. Eventually, that engine won't be able to keep up, and the car itself won't be able to move like it used to move. So it's everything around it that it affects the legacy software. In addition, what usually happens is there are many, many new softwares, and this is what I'm talking about, many, many new softwares that plug into your legacy software. Let's say you built a software 20 years ago, and now you need to plug in Salesforce or Zapier or something like that, that just don't play very well with your legacy software, causing it again to slow down or not take advantage of those APIs and other software that you're connecting to, which causes the slowness and the inefficiency. I mean, look, if you're watching this video, you're having an issue, and those issues usually happen either with the customers or internally, and it usually happens around the fact that either A, what's surrounding your software, like your deployment or anything like that, is just doesn't fit with your old software, or B, what you're connecting it to, and all software connects to other software today. Every single software has multiple API connections. They just don't work with your legacy software. So you already have a good idea of what's not working, but this clarifies it.
Yeah, in the context of how does it impact end users, I'm going to think about two current clients we have that had legacy software, and we're replacing and updating that software for them. And the impact it had on one company is they have internal folks as well as external people using the software to conduct their business. And what happened is the software has become so inefficient, it's taking their team members, extra hours to perform certain tasks. And so they've just become less competitive in the marketplace. Not only that, but their response rate isn't quick enough. And so again, it's another competitive issues, employees complaining about the software and the tedium and having to do the same tedious stuff over and over again. Another client is just simply slow. The software has just become so slow because it's so bulky, and it's slowing down. So end users are not satisfied with that. Okay, so number
So
two.
I want to revisit that one of them there.
Sure.
So one of the clients we're talking about, they built their software 20 years ago. And when it was built 20 years ago, it was state of the art. Okay. Now, you fast forward 20 years later, and the current users of it, they know it's not state of the art because they use state of the art software in everything that they do in life. And then they move to this old, bulky system, and they know it's slow. They realize it's slow. 20 years ago, it wasn't, but today it is. So the particular customer we're talking about, we won't mention their name, but I was there when the VP of Ops did a reveal to the entire company, hundreds of people, and I heard somebody behind me in the audience say, "I feel like I'm dreaming." So it really does make a difference to update that software.
We like that. And a lot of their employees have been there for 10 years, 15 years. And there's there's that saying where, if you put a frog in boiling water, it'll jump out, but if you put them in warm water and slowly turn up the heat, they'll stay in it until they die. And that's kind of like using legacy software, right? You just got to
Yeah.
become used to it and struggle with the pain day in and day out. But they're finally changing, and we're so happy for them. We can't wait to launch it with them. So, all right, question number 2. What limitations are my current legacy systems imposing on my business? I think this is similar to the end user question, right? If it's affecting end users, and we answered part of this, it's also can be affecting my business by making us less competitive. Employees could leave because they don't like it and they're so frustrated with it. There could be many ways that it's impacting the business.
Yeah, and one of the and from a technological point of view is incompatibility with modern APIs. So there could be incompatibility with connecting to other software that's absolutely crucial for your system. And if you can't connect to other software, you have blockages in your workflow, which is going to cost you time and money. And in addition, if there's, really, just modern features that are added or expected in applications, and you can't add it because this legacy software is just incapable of doing it, then that's also going to affect your internal and external users. Look, legacy software is very, very expensive. It's much cheaper to rewrite legacy software than it is to go ahead and continue using legacy software.
That kind of leads into the third question. Is it more cost effective to update existing software or develop new solutions?
It really depends on how old the software is, but almost always it's better to write it from scratch. And the reason why is, number one, if you're updating really old legacy software, you're still working from that base and you're still going to have limitations. That's number one. Number two is, paradoxically, it could take longer and be more expensive to update your legacy software than it is just to write it from scratch. Legacy software is usually older applications that required a lot more code and a lot more time to do the same thing that modern software can do in just a few lines of code. So retrofitting old legacy software is usually a bad idea. Of course, it's a case-by-case basis, but I would say about 90% of the time, we do recommend to rewrite it from scratch. It's faster, cheaper, and a hell of a lot more scalable.
For sure. All right. How will new software enhance my operational efficiency or customer experience? And I think we alluded to that in the last 2 questions, right? If you have software that's geared towards their processes, and of course, when we just quote replace or build new software, we don't just replicate the exact features in the same way. We are updating, we're talking to the employees, we're doing research with them, we're doing designs and getting internal reviews. And so they have the knowledge about their business. And so we take that knowledge and apply, modern UX and UI design principles. And like you said, software components that give them modern features and modern day efficiencies. And so the operational efficiency is always, doubled, if not tripled. And of course, the customer experience also increases dramatically because we are going to save, I would say, approximately 5 to 6 hours of time, per employee every couple days in this one client's example of the software we're updating.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next question. What risks are involved in transitioning to new software and how can I address them?
All righty. So risks involved are well. Let's talk about the human risk. The human risk is you've got to retrain folks on how to use your software. Okay, even though they're complaining every single day about it, and even though it is costing you a shit ton of money by using this legacy software, they're going to complain when they see new software. Not everybody. There are going to be folks who are going to say, "I feel like I'm dreaming," and they can see the vision. But people don't like change, even though the change is going to be better. And for those who use it for the first time, they're going to love it and they're not going to complain. But you're gonna have to manage change, and this is where the business experience of folks like me and Wayne and Mike come into play. I know that you might have expected a technological answer, Wayne, but that's the first one that came to my mind.
Well, you make an excellent point, and I think in practical terms for this particular client, we took that into a huge consideration in designing the new software. We didn't create something, some beautiful piece of art, which we like to do as long as it's efficient and usable, and we want a really attractive interface for the target audience. But we really made the software look similar to what they have now. We tried to minimize those, especially from a visual standpoint, the changes. And a lot of the data and data entry fields remain the same. We just made the entire process more efficient and added modern features that would save them time and functionality that they didn't have in the legacy, and even probably wasn't possible in the legacy software that we added that would increase that employee morale. Because there's nothing like replacing a piece of software in everyone's experience when they get the new version of Windows or something and just go, what happened here? I don't know where anything is. It's like when they change, all the food around in your grocery store, and you're like, I've learned where all the food is.
I
I've got to
know.
find it again, and it can be frustrating. So,
Now, as
uh,
far as the technical risks are concerned, when you do switch over from your new system to your legacy system, keep your legacy system going for about 4 to 6 months in the background, just in case there is an issue, in case there isn't an error. Make sure to be backing up that database at all times. If anything happens, you want to have that old legacy system up and running so that your business doesn't go down. Knock on wood, we've never had an issue with that before, but better safe than sorry. I know it's going to cost more money to keep two servers running, but better just have it up and running and hot so you can switch it over in case you need it. You're paying for insurance. Hopefully, you'll never need the insurance.
yep, correct. All right, and related question number 6, how will data migration be handled securely and without loss? This is always a critical function when switching software.
Yeah. So the way that data migration works is, first of all, I'll just go through the steps of how it works. There's you write a script to go ahead and migrate data from one database to another. Now, where the risk comes into play is that if you've got legacy software, there's a really, really good chance that you're not going to use the same type of database that you used to start with. So, for instance, you might in legacy software you might have used SQL Server, whereas in your modern software you might use Postgres. So there is there is going to be a transition not only from the old software to the new old database to the new database, but a completely different type of database. So you're going to have a script to go from that old one to that new one, and from that new one to the old one in case you have to revert back, like I said, for that insurance policy. That's really one of the biggest hurdles. But those are really just solvable problems. Technology, software, it is so freaking honed in 2024, much different than when I was first started in the 90s, that this stuff is, these are a very, very known quantity. So anybody out there who's worried about that, of course, an ounce of prevention and be a little worried. But let me just tell you that software and platforms work so well today, you have very, very little to worry about.
I think we may have already answered this, but question 7 is what is the expected downtime during the transition and how will it affect my business?
So again, it really depends on the size of your platform and your users. But typically, what we like to do is, everybody go home early on a Friday, and we will spend the entire weekend, starting from Friday night, could be until midnight, all weekend long, um, shutting down the old system, making sure that the new system is up and running. We'll be working with you directly, so you'll be working with us over the weekend and making sure everything is up and running. So when people come in on Monday, they'll have the new system. Now, again, if you've ever done old software 20 years ago, this might sound a little bit like a dream, but it's just modern software is just so freaking good. You couldn't have done this 25 years ago, especially when you had on-prem servers. But when you got cloud servers and you've got modern platforms and technology like this, these are known quantities. They're not nearly as difficult as they used to be. Again, we go back to the other podcast that Wayne and I did about the 10 questions that ask a software development company. Relax. We got the dev covered, and the dev is the easy part. It's the execution that you should worry about, and where we can help you out too as business owners.
Yeah, it's a good point. And one of our customers where we are only changing the database currently, it's a three-phase project, and they can't afford to do everything at once, but their business is growing. So and their legacy software is completely hit a wall in terms of performance. So we're replacing the database. We'll have a live hot system up and running alongside their current system and literally switch over the database. There shouldn't be no downtime and no errors because everything will be completely tested. And we expect a really smooth transition there. So the next question, number 8, do I need to retrain my staff and what will the process look like? I mean, we talked about that a little bit already. It should be very minimal. I know at Founders Workshop, we create user guides, we do initial training, and we get people, ready for the things that are different. And we make sure that they can use the software before it goes into any live production state.
Yeah, yeah. Again, yeah.
Not much to add to that. So number 9. Is the new software scalable and adaptable for future business needs?
Well, that's one of the main reasons why you want to update your legacy software. The older your software, the less scalable it's going to be. As a general term, I mean, if you wrote your software in C and it's guiding missiles, well, that's different. But if you're writing business software, most likely your software, the older it is, the less compatible it is with modern APIs and other connections, and the less scalable it's going to be. So, that's another reason why you don't want to update legacy software. You want to just throw it away, start from scratch, and get another 20 years out of it.
Yeah, we have a customer that built their own MVP out of just a basic web server platform, and using Google Data Sheets as their database and Zapier to connect all this up, and JotForms. And they have created a whole business on that, and they have been successful. Now, guess what? That system is breaking down because it wasn't intended. It's really brilliant as an MVP, but wasn't intended to be a scalable business. So we are now upgrading that system, getting rid of the JotForms and Google Sheets and some other tools that they have into a modern day system that now he's ready to scale and grow his business for years to come. And so we're excited about that project. And final question, Vincent, who will support and maintain the new software after implementation?
Well, I know some people that can support it, Wayne.
We do
Yeah.
support many clients, don't we?
We do. We do support a lot of clients. So, we want you to have confidence that after the build, we're going to be here to support you. And typically what we see one of two paths with our clients after we create their MVP. The first path and the most common path is that they put them in what's called a maintenance phase. And that maintenance phase means that We spin up a server for them. The server does constant backups. We have a disaster recovery plan for you in case there is a disaster. We're able to go ahead and quickly recover all your data and get you back up and running again. Again, most modern servers won't have this issue. But just in case it does, we do have a disaster recovery plan. We provide you a project coordinator that you meet with every single month who can, add small new features or make bug fixes or any hot fixes that need to be made. Don't worry about it. We'll make sure the lights stay on. The second path is to go back and do the development all over again because you got immediate feedback or you got a roadmap that you need to execute. But most folks we have on our maintenance plan to add those features, those bug fixes, and make sure the lights always stay on.
Yeah, and the other path too is that they don't have to use us to maintain their software. We build the software, like you mentioned earlier, on standard platforms, modern day platforms that they can get any developer to support their own team or another company, and that's totally up to them.
Yeah, actually, Wayne, I'm really glad you brought that up. Too many times, unfortunately, we've seen clients come to us with from dev shops that have held them hostage. All right, they'll say, I don't want to work with these guys anymore. I lost confidence in them, or whatever it happens to be, but I can't get my code. I don't know, which server they have me on, any of that. From day one, we give you the keys to the kingdom. Okay. From day one, you got the keys to your repo, which is where all your source code is. You got the keys to your server. You have everything. So if you decide for whatever reason that you want to leave Founders Workshop, you find a development shop you like better, or you decide to do the coding yourself, or today the sky happens to be too blue for you, whatever reason it is, just you've got the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, I'm amazed sometimes that where clients come to us and they're struggling is that they send a request to their team and it takes days, if not weeks, to get an answer. And then when we dig deeper and say, can we get a login? Oh, no, we don't have that. Our team does, and now they want us to pay money. It's some crazy stuff that we've heard, right? And it's just not the way to do business, not the way we do business. So yeah, you always own everything, but we're always here to support you.
Yep.
All right, folks, that is the 10 questions you should ask before updating or replacing your legacy software. There's lots more questions. You probably have lots of questions if you're facing this issue. Get a hold of us and we will answer those questions and help you out where we can. Thank you.
Absolutely.